Hello and welcome to this very special edition of the Silly Point podcast. I'm Osama Shah. I have with me Rika Roy, and we are obviously going to talk about India's tour of South Africa. Rika, the last time India went for a tour to South Africa, something unfortunate happened. Virat Kohli, he decided to step down, and also because India lost the Test series, they also lost the ODI series 3-0. What do you expect this time? Are you expecting drama? Are you expecting any more resignations? Are you expecting a turnaround? What do you feel? Or is it going to be one of those series that India finally goes to South Africa and finally wins?
Osama, talking about India-South Africa series, there has already been a lot of drama. A lot of water has flown under the bridge right from the time, India used to go there and play against Hansi Cronje's team, that series in 1992. All of us remember. And, the birth of Virender Sehwag, a lot of the Virender Sehwag, Praveen Amre. We've seen kind of a generation of players.
The originator of baseball, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of them taking birth in tough series like South Africa. After Australia, I would say England and South Africa are the two toughest series. Yes, I think one of the things that India will talk about in the camp also is that they haven't managed to win a single Test series in South Africa yet. But Osama, let's not get as far as the Boxing Day. Let's talk about the present. The thing about present, and I think what is unique about this series is that we should tell our viewers, perhaps for the first time, India is touring overseas with three captains.
Yeah.
Three captains for three formats.
Yeah.
Surya Kumar Yadav for T20s. For ODIs, we will have KL Rahul, and for the tests, we will have Rohit Sharma. The seniors in this side, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, will return, जिनको हम दिग्गज खिलाड़ी बोलते हैं. They are going to return for only the tests, but it will be the real test of the juniors, of the so-called bench strength who has come out of IPL against again a not so experienced South African side, which is led by Aiden Markram in the white ball format, and Themba Bavuma will return for the red ball format. It's very difficult to say, Osama, who starts as the favourite, because if you look at both teams, South Africa in South African conditions, they are very strong. They know how to win matches in South Africa. At the same time, they're inexperienced.
Yeah.
So is the Indian team. That's an inexperienced Indian team, but they have the experience of having played against these.
Yeah. But you can also say this about the South African team, because both the teams look like these teams are in transition in a way. Both the teams are fielding players who are just starting to make their mark. You have the likes of somebody like Gqeberha, who was absolutely phenomenal in the World Cup.
But I don't think Gerald Gqeberha is starting the tour.
He's not starting the tour. But I'm generally talking about the players who are coming into this team, and especially in the last 1 year, when you look at both the teams, you see that transition happening. And is it
Nicock, who once again has been in a phenomenal form during the World Cup. So all these guys who have really made a stunning, delivered stunning performances. They are not a part of this series, and hence, as you rightly said, it is a team in transition, just like Team India. But which transition is going to happen better, we will probably find out during the series.
Also, the matches are going to happen in Durban. The matches are also going to happen in Johannesburg.
And you have to say the name of Port Elizabeth.
No, but I was about to ask you to say the name.
You promised me before coming coming in for this recording that it is you who's going to try.
I don't know if this is
Port Elizabeth.
We have tried to pronounce that name, and I don't know how many of you are going to accept this pronunciation, but it's supposed to be called what? Gqeberha. Was it?
That's what it is. I'm not going to try, because I don't have a tongue for it. Osama has a tongue for it. He has tried. I think you guys should try out pronouncing
the name Gqeberha.
Yes, and particularly if you are a quizzer, any of you who are interested in quizzing just like me should just try out this name, because next time you might be asked what is the new name of Port Elizabeth. It's nothing like Chennai, Mumbai or Kolkata.
Yes, it is Gqeberha.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Also, we are also talking about the fact that, like you rightly mentioned, there are a lot of young players who are making an appearance in this particular series. Who are some of these players that you're really looking forward to? Especially, let's start with the batters first. In the T20 series that happened recently against Australia, who according to you was a standout performer for India with the bat, and do you see that happening in a completely different condition in South Africa, and do you see these players performing in that situation as well?
So these players who we have seen in the recently concluded T20 series against Australia, they're all IPL stars.
Yeah.
They're all stars in their teams because over the years they have delivered exceptional performances, and in a way that has also got them to the Indian cricket team.
Yeah.
Now, whether they replicate that performance on South African terrain or not, we'll have to wait and see. A lot of them have the ability, they have the courage as well to, play on surfaces like South Africa, but it'll really depend on how they have mentally adjusted to the change. I think with one major constant that Indian team has in Rahul Dravid, it'll help them a lot. It'll help Team India a lot, because particularly these youngsters who are a part of the T20 team have been Rahul Dravid's boys.
Correct.
When they're junior players.
Yeah.
So from junior team to senior team, they will get, having that sort of a constant help will help them. Rahul Dravid knows how to bat in South Africa. What are the adjustments one needs to make, if at all, in one's technique? Because I believe that batters like Ruturaj Gaikwad, batters like Yashasvi Jaiswal, they rely, Shubman Gill, they rely a lot on the technique. So what is that, micro adjustment or nano adjustment they need to make in their stance or in their technique? That is something Rahul Dravid will be able to do.
And you see, the thing is, it's also important for these boys to perform in South Africa, because we have been discussing this only
6 T20s left
exactly
now?
5 after this 5 6
5 or 6 T20s.
See, 6 T20s. This is going to be like 3 of the T20 matches that we are going to play
3
against,
now and 3 later.
and 3 later. And in between there is also going to be the IPL.
Is also shoehorned in between.
Yeah. So when you talk about this particular team, when you talk about these set of players, when you see the future, how many of these players do you see being in that team? And realistically, do you feel do they have the acumen to be a part of a World Cup squad? Because again, India has, and the team management has always been cautious, and they've always gone back to fielding the experienced hands, and it has not really worked for us, especially in the ICC tournament. So should the team management be a little more courageous in this sense, or do you feel that because these players, they haven't really played a lot of cricket together, and especially this format internationally, do you feel it is still some time that these boys basically get to like gel together and then start performing as a team? Because what we saw in the ODI World Cup, you saw the old hands, people who were despite not playing the entire year, made it to the World Cup squad, and then they gelled well, and they played really well together. Do you see that happening for the T20 World Cup as well, or do you feel India should forget about whatever like planning that they have done over the past 1.5 year or whatever, and let's just give them a chance and let them go and do what they want to do?
Osama, you follow a lot of sport. I follow a lot of sport, and what we've seen typically in the world of sport, that what works best is also a dynamic situation. Having one leader and then have a team rally around that leader and also be dynamic. Yes, the team will hinge on senior players. But why not throw these youngsters into the deep end? 2007 happened because we were courageous enough to throw a bunch of youngsters into the deep end. And if we are not courageous enough, then we won't get the courageous results.
Yeah.
To get some exceptional results, we also have to be exceptionally courageous.
Yeah.
And why not throw them? I think there will be a definite strategy in place, which will probably to have a senior leader, and we know Rohit Sharma will be there as a part of the World Cup. He'll be captaining this side, and then they will have a bunch of youngsters rallying around Sharma. So that will be a very clear a strategy to go into the World Cup, and these youngsters will then be fitted into different roles like they were during the ODI World Cup also. And I very well see Yashasvi Jaiswal, opening the innings with Sharma and Shubman Gill having one down.
Do you feel that India, when it comes to T20 format, unlike the Test format or the ODI format, where they are established themselves as a team who dominates, who have been, who's basically like the number one in that particular two formats. But it's not really the case with the T20 format. Also because of how the game is played. Also because it's a shorter format. You never know what might happen.
Even Afghanistan can cause an upset, and even Afghanistan can get into the knockouts.
In that sense, do you feel then that because this is one format, everyone has a chance to go out and perform on that given day, and you never know. Like you said, Afghanistan might get one over a bigger team like India or an Australia or whatever. In that sense, do you feel India should forget about the fact that a lot of people have been talking about how India is the number one T20 team, or you have the number one T20 bowler, or the number one T20 batsman, etc. Should you just let that side of just forget about that side? That okay, we might be on paper, but let's just treat it as a format where we are equal to others and we are not superior to others, unlike the ODI and Test series. And then you might see a lot of these players, a different kind of players, then come up and take up the mantle, because it has happened before. It has happened before with other teams, and you see what has happened to they have ultimately gone on and won these championships, these tournaments, and India hasn't. So do you think that is one thing that India is carrying with themselves? And and also because of the fact that you have extra added pressure on you in that sense.
I think, Osama, to answer your question, I would say that Rahul Dravid also watches a reasonable amount of tennis, and he knows that Team India right now is like a bunch of those world number one tennis girls who have become world number one despite winning a single Grand Slam.
Yeah.
They haven't won a single Grand Slam. They have won a bunch of WTA tournaments during the year, and that catapulted them to number one position. A lot of them, by the way, became number one without winning a Grand Slam.
That's true. Yeah.
Same case with Team India.
So what you're saying is let's forget about the rankings. Let's forget about everything.
Performances during the year, but when it came to key tournaments, they have not managed to cross the finish line. But there is a certain element of, what should I say, there's a certain element of excitement when you talk about, because sport again is a lot about numbers. You get gold, silver and bronze because you come first, you come second, and you can come third. I mean, you will be judged as number one, number two, number three, and you will have to prove yourself as worthy number one. My problem at the moment is India proving itself as worthy number one. I think that is something they have to analyze, and they'll have to see, they'll have to strategize as to how they prove themselves as worthy number one.
Do you see that is also to do with how India's structure, the team structure is, and when you see the structure of the team, you see that India is lacking a lot of all-rounders, and this has been the case with T20 format for India, that India hasn't really produced a lot of all-rounders in this team, and with the entire rule of impact players coming in the IPL, there also has been argument that this is going to basically take out the role of an all-rounder in a T20
I
team.
think
So
all-rounders need
but do you
to,
see that as a
need to be
structural
churned
problem
out.
for India?
Yeah, all-rounders need to be churned out for India, because as we progress with the format, and particularly here I'm talking about T20,
Yeah.
all-rounders will always be and remain valuable.
Yeah.
So we need to churn out all-rounders. Hardik Pandya's injury may not have caused a great deal of heartache to India during the course of the campaign.
Yeah.
But
But in the longer run,
who knows,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
and Hardik
Yeah.
Pandya is one who can turn the game. So India needs a fit Pandya back. India needs more fit all-rounders in the middle over, and that lower middle over acceleration, a role that MS Dhoni played. Someone has to take up that mantle. Someone has to execute that lower order acceleration as perfectly as MS Dhoni did.
Do you also feel that Hardik Pandya has been, and because you mentioned Hardik Pandya is the reason why I'm asking you this. Hardik Pandya has been touted as the next captain for India. A lot of people have been talking about it. Jasprit Bumrah might not like it. He goes on and posts something that it's better to be silent or whatever. But jokes apart, Hardik Pandya being injury prone is do you think that is something that the management will have in the back of their mind?
Of course.
And do you feel that if that is the case, then who else do you feel in the longer run can take that mantle, can be considered as the next?
For a long time, Ruturaj Gaikwad was being considered as the successor to MS Dhoni, but I don't think it's happening this year either.
Yeah.
So let's wait and see who's that long-term person, whether the selectors prefer to go for a second line or prefer to stay with someone who can just deliver in the present, and then we'll think about the future later.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Shubman?
something. I think Shubman Gill, too new, too raw. I mean,
But
of
just-
course,
just
he's got
hypothetically.
the GT captaincy.
Yeah.
But
Do you think that is going to be important for him? If you say, for example, hypothetically, if he goes on, to
I mean,
let's not
put pressure.
If he goes on to say, for example, reach the knockouts and reach the finals, do you feel then that India would be, like, the team management would be thinking about him as a future captain for India?
See, he could be a captaincy material in the long run, but having got the GT captaincy now, my worry is that hope he is able to balance his batting with his captaincy.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he needs to do. Of course, he has a very good coach come strategist with him, Ashish Nehra, but he will have to do that.
Yeah.
He will have to get into the zone, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how he performs this job, and then think about it later. Let's not jump the gun whether Shubman Gill can be that captain. Let's also not jump the gun saying that it could be Ruturaj Gaikwad. I don't know who it can be, if not Hardik Pandya. If they would like for KL Rahul to captain two formats, the white ball format, and then Rohit Sharma, till the time he's playing, continues to captain in Test cricket. That is also a possibility, by the way.
Yeah.
If Hardik is not given the captaincy.
Talking about the whole captaincy situation, like you mentioned right at the beginning, 3 captains in 3 different formats. Do you think it is a good idea? A. And if the team management, if this works out, say for example the South Africa series works out and we win all the 3 series with 3 different captains, will the team management, will people behind the scenes be like tempted to go with this
three
three
captains,
captains, 3 formats?
It was a vision of the previous set of selectors to have 3 captains, 3 formats. Personally, if you ask me, I am not very fond of the word multitasking. I am fond of the word multi-skilled. You can be multi-skilled, but if you are multitasking, then that takes so much of your bandwidth that there is always a
you
chance
you have to
that
clarify this. Multitasking, by multitasking you mean what?
multitasking, okay, I will put in simple terms. Multitasking means you're working on a project and you have 50 tabs open in your on your window. Okay, so in that case you are multitasking, you're working on each window. Multi-skilled means, Osama, you know how to shoot, you know how to edit, you know how to anchor, but you're not doing all of them at the same time.
Correct.
That is being multi-skilled. Multitask is you are doing many things at the same time.
Yeah.
So if a captain is captaining only in one version, that gives him time, or that gives her time to focus, and have a laser sharp vision on that format, instead of scrambling in T20 cricket one day cricket in another day, and test cricket in another day. For me personally, I would say that's an ideal situation, but of course it works differently for different people. However, this three captain was a vision of the former set of selectors.
But if, like I said, if the South Africa series goes well, we manage to win all the three formats, in all the three different formats, then you never know. You never know that the selectors might go ahead and say, okay, this is how we are going to do it in the future. We'll take a set of players who are only going to play T20 cricket, and there is only going to be one captain who's going to be focusing on that format, and let them do whatever that they want to do. You have a decent ODI team who are good enough to play in the big tournaments and hopefully win
it's
win
like
an
one
ICC.
company,
Yeah.
BCCI, having 3 sets of teams with one manager,
Yeah.
which is like the captain. He leads the team in 3 sets of different functions.
Yeah. Acha, this I also want to talk about the South Africa team a little bit. And when you talk about the captains, you talk about Bavuma and Aiden Markram. They are also going with the same format, different captains in different formats. Do you feel that it gives them, and because this hasn't happened in the past for them also, so do you feel this is an opportunity for a team like South Africa who are basically transitioning, and do you feel that is also a transition, an opportunity for these guys also to go out and establish themselves in different formats? And considering the amount of cricket that South Africa plays, it's much less than India. So,
yeah, but Osama, they play a lot less cricket than India, but most of these guys, top guys, they play leagues across the year, across the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wouldn't say that they play a lot less cricket. However, the level of competition may not be as high as the Indians get, but they do play cricket. Like, Faf du Plessis, he's already retired from international cricket.
Yeah.
He's making a bid to come back and perhaps play in the T20 World Cup. He is playing not T20 at the moment, but T10.
Yeah.
To keep himself fit for a return, or even to stake claim for return.
But that is also to do with, and a lot of people are going to say this, that that's also
IPL.
That's also because he wants to play IPL for at least a couple of more years, because that is where the excitement is, that is where the money is, that is where everything is at this moment.
And talking about the pot of gold, you have to ask me, what does South Africa stand to gain?
What do they stand to gain?
572 crore plus rupees out of the revenue that they will get when India
So money is a factor.
land. Of course. How do you run? It's like a company. If the company doesn't make revenue, how does the company run? I mean, if cricket has to be played, if cricket has to prosper, money needs to be made. So 572 crore roughly is what Cricket South Africa is going to make from this 1 month series.
All right. We're what? 15 days, 15 more days to go before the series starts, or
we
no?
are 3
No,
3 days to go, Osama.
Yeah.
I think You still haven't recovered from the
I haven't.
World Cup.
I haven't actually recovered from the I haven't really recovered from the
so
World Cup heartbreak,
so
and
the
I've been trying to
3 days to go.
Yeah, so I've been trying to distract myself from with whatever different sports that I can watch, and try and not like look at India playing cricket, because every time
But look, in sports,
it just gives you bad memories. Like all the bad memories, they come.
in sports you have to move on, and
I can't move on. That's the problem.
No, I think we all now it's about time we move on, and there is a cracking series, India versus South Africa.
Starting on the 10th.
Starting on the 10th, we will keep getting you all the updates, all the ringside view of this series. So stay tuned.
And also we are going to try and get Rika to pronounce the name Gqeberha.
No, I'm not doing that.